Hello everyone, this is Mingbo Peng. Welcome to this video tutorial. In this video, we are going to talk about what is the climate file and how can we get useful information from the EBW file to help us to understand the climate where the project is located. By now, I assume everyone has installed the Ladybug and Honeybee plugin correctly. For those who has no background of the Grasshopper, I would suggest to look at the Grasshopper 101 class. Okay, so here is the Grasshopper interface and then Ladybug Honeybee after you installed the plugin. There are 100 couples Ladybug and Honeybee components inside the Grasshopper, and they are grouped by each tabs. Let's look at the first tab, which is labeled 0 Ladybug. Under this tab, you will find the components like download the EBW file, import the EBW file, import and construct locations, and then some other settings update. Now move to the second tab, analyze the weather data. Under this tab, we can do some mostly data post-processing, and then some comfort calculations, sunrise, sunset, web temperature, and then also heating degree days, cooling degree days. The number 2, visualize weather data, where we can visualize the data including like 3D chart, bar chart, and psychrometric chart, and some like wind loads, sun paths, and sky domes. Under number 3, environmental analysis tab, where we can start working on the view analysis, sunlight hour analysis, and the radiations analysis. The number 4, Renewables tab, we can do solar hot water studies and photovoltaic studies. The number 5 tab, we have mostly setting parameters, also some unit converters. Okay, now this is the very basic overview for the Ladybug tools. Now let's get started. Just keep in mind, before using any Ladybug components, we always drag and drop the first component called Ladybug to the Grasshopper canvas, which makes sure the entire environment is working okay. Now drag the second component called download EBW weather file to Grasshopper canvas, and then now double click the Grasshopper canvas. You can search button, connect the button. Once we click this button, it will bring us to the EBW map, this website. Each dot here shows one weather station, and we can download the weather file from which we can download a weather file for free. Let's search Boston in this case. Here we have 3 weather sources in Boston location. Hover the mouse on top of the dot. It gives you some basic information about this weather station, like data source, host, latitude, longitude, and the cooling stress, heating stress. But we want to right click the dot. It gives you a link information. Now select this link, Ctrl A, select all, right click, copy, and then let's go back to the Grasshopper. Double click, type in double quotation, which is a shortcut for the panel, and then Ctrl V, paste into the canvas. Now we can use the third component called open EBW and the set weather file. Now we can use the third component to download this EBW file from this weather file URL. Let's connect this panel to the input. Let's use another panel to check the output. So this is a file saved to my local drive. Let me copy this address copy data only. It's over here. Let's see. So this is the folder. In this folder, we have 3 files. One is DDY, STAT file, EBW file. Let's open the DDY file. We can open that with Notepad. We can open this file with Notepad++. So this file is pretty useful. We can find some data that we can use for the energy simulation, like design day, wind condition, etc. Now let's open the STAT file. Same thing again. So this file also gives you some summarized data, like monthly drivable temperature, monthly radiation, monthly drivable temperature, etc. And also it has some hourly data as well. Now let's open the EBW file, which is the most important file that we usually use for our study. So starting from line number 9, here is 1976, January 1st, 1 a.m., 0 minutes. And followed by drivable temperature, wearable temperature, wind direction, and some radiations values. Moving to the next line, it is the data for the 2 a.m., 3, 4, 5 until 0 or 24 a.m. and then move to the second day, January 2nd. Now scroll down further, we can see March, it is using 1981, May 1978, like September 1976. So this EBW file is not using the data from a single year. It is the scientists looked at the most several decades worth of data and then studied monthly, picked the January data from 1976 because they think this month is the most typical January data over these several decades. The same applies to each month. Now let's go back to the Grasshopper. So this is the link to the EBW file. And then let's now move to the set. Now move to the next component to import the EBW file. Let's connect the EBW file to EBW file. So here it basically brings all this information and then separated by categories. Now these data are all in the Grasshopper. So here is the drivable temperature starting from the January 1st, 1 a.m. until the December 31st, 0 a.m. With this data, we can do almost everything we want, like say how many hours the temperature is above the 26 Celsius. How do we do this? Let's use the larger than component. Connect A, type in 26. Now we have an error here, which because of there are a couple lines of the string before the data, and then we cannot compare the string with 26. Let's use the separate data component over here to separate string and the numbers. Let's input list numbers to A. Now we can get all those true and false. Because in the computer, or false means 0 and then true is 1. Now let's use mass addition to add all together, which gives us 437 hours throughout the year that drivable temperature is above the 26 Celsius in Boston. And we can also use the average component to calculate the percentage as well, which is roughly 5%. Okay, now we have a basic understanding of the weather file and then how we can get some quick calculations to answer some basic questions. Thanks for watching.